All right, recording now. All right, good morning, everyone. I know it's kind of odd seeing me without my usual podcast partners, Jackson and Marshall, and it is March. In the words of John Rothstein, this is March, so we're talking basketball for once. And to help me out here is a man who knows a lot more about basketball than I ever will, being a college football guy, and friend of the podcast from before. If you remember in December when we talked about Army in the past, Alex Funderburke. Alex, do you have any opening statements?
Hey, I'm excited. Army basketball's back in the postseason. It's not something that happens often. I'm really excited to talk about the CBI.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you don't hear often, being excited to talk about the CBI. But I mean, I was when I saw Army in the field. I thought this was our year. Sadly, it wasn't, but maybe next year. We keep saying that. But yeah, Alex, just starting off. In this 8-team field, is there any team that really jumps at you other than Army, of course?
Well, yeah, Army's obviously gonna jump off the page right away, but Bellarmine comes to mind. It's their first year in Division One. They were pretty good in the A-Sun. They finished second, but of course they can't go to the actual tournament because Division One is weird, and you have a 3-year waiting period before you can have postseason play. I think that rule should change. I don't understand it, but that's a different conversation. They jump off the page. Bryant also jumps off the page too. They lost in the NEC final. They're pretty good. Coastal also lost in their conference final. So you have some good teams in this tournament. Everyone at least made it to the quarterfinal of their conference tournament that is currently playing in the CBI. But yeah, no, it should be a fun tournament.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point about making the quarterfinal because a lot of these conferences like the A10, Big East, ACC have like over 8 teams. So you have to win like a couple games to get to the quarterfinals in general. So, I mean, that's an achievement itself. And it's hard to pull off upsets for sure. I like Brian as well. I like Bellarmine and Brian as well, especially Brian. I feel like they got a pretty strong resume for an NEC team because NEC teams usually get stuck with the 16 seeds. And I can't remember the last time an NEC team won in the tournament.
Yeah,
really,
Mount St. Mary lost yesterday, so
right.
there's any team. Yeah, they were going to be a 16 seed, but they got beat by Texas Southern.
Yeah, I mean, they're always in the first 4 as well. So like you don't really see strong resumes. Like Bryant beat UMass, who was a 5 team in the A10 despite an abbreviated season. They were leading Syracuse at halftime and lost that one by 1. A heartbreaker for Bulldogs fans for sure. So I mean, I like Bryant as well. Another team I like is Pepperdine out of the West
Yeah.
Coast Conference. They really have a strong resume there too, and it's kind of hard for a school like Pepperdine, even Pacific last year, to really get attention out in the West Coast Conference, in a conference that's really been dominated by St. Mary's and Gonzaga for a long period of time, and now BYU. But Pepperdine, they beat BYU, they beat California, had a triple OT loss to UCLA, and a 5-point loss to San Diego State. So honestly, while I have Army winning the bracket, winning the CBI, and want them to, I really think Pepperdine stands out as a favorite because they play in the strongest conference and the resume, I think it kind of towers over everyone else.
Yeah, Pepperdine is interesting because, like you said, they are in a stronger conference, and they've never been more than 2 games above or below 500 all season. So like they've not had these like long winning streaks. They've also not had a long losing streak, which is something you kind of want in postseason. You know, they're not going to get too high, they're not going to get too low. They're definitely a pick for my. I could definitely see them winning this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting point that you bring up, like in terms of winning streaks and runs, really, because for me, I want a team to get hot, but I mean, that's a good point about not too high and not too low. I mean, which would you rather have?
I don't know. It's tricky because like basketball is a game of runs and like even like runs of games because sometimes like you can ride a hot hand for 5-6 games. But with a team like Pepperdine, it's weird because they don't have that. You know, they've not lost more than 2 games in a row. They've not lost more than 3 games in a row. And when you have that, yeah, it's good because you're consistent, but it's also not good because you haven't strung together that many games in a row to where you're like, okay, we're hot. Like it's always been like, okay, we're gonna 2-game winning streak here. All right, now we're gonna lose 2 straight. It's very weird. I think I would prefer a team that has some highs and some lows instead of just like we were average all season long.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point for sure. I mean, And I guess with a team of runs in an 8-team tournament, you just need to win 3 games, put 3 games together.
Yep.
So, I mean, who cares how hot you get? And you just got to be hot enough for sure. I want to talk about some of these like first time tournament teams. You have 3 of them in the 18 field, which I think adds flavor to this tournament compared to, I guess, the NIT this year. I'm not going to say this touches the NCAA for sure. I mean, that would be really.
This is better. This is better. This is better. The CBI is better only because Army's in here. If Army was in here, I probably would not be talking about it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, like you got Stetson, a team that is 11-14, but they're a first time tournament team in their 50-year existence of Division One, which is really amazing. They actually beat Liberty too. I mean, 23-5 Liberty. I mean, really surprising victory there.
They also lost to a Division II school to start their season.
Oh, they did? Okay, wow. That's something I
They lost. Yeah, Stetson lost to Emmanuel in their first game of the season, who's a D2 school. I had to look up if they were a D2 school because I'm not gonna lie, thought they were a D3 school. And they never reached 500. They started the season 0-4 and then won 3 straight, and that's the closest they've gotten to 500 all season.
Wow. So
they're interesting. They're weird. I don't know. Like I told you before that we started recording, they're probably only playing in this tournament because it's in Daytona and the land is somewhat close to Daytona.
Yeah, I mean it's history though. They did beat 13-10 FAU out of conference too, which counts for something. I don't know how good the Owls have been historically at basketball. I mean, it can't be that good because I've never seen them in the tournament. So
it's that any in-state win out of conference is big. I'll give it to them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially from a conference, I guess, relatively with a bigger brand name than the ASUN, like a lot bigger of a brand name. I mean, it's something.
It's something. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see Stetson. I got credentialed for the tournament, so I'll be there for all of the games. Stetson is a school that is there. Like I go to UCF, like Stetson is near us. We're like 30, 45 minutes apart. Like Stetson is a school is there, but you kind of forget it's there. Like, and their basketball program is very much similar. Their baseball team's really good. They're like undefeated right now. Really? They slaughtered UCF like 3 times. Like it wasn't fun. But no, yeah, Stetson men's basketball is not something you remember is there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just bring this back to football. I mean, really them playing the Pioneer Football League, it's just a sketchy school to me. Like any school that's in the Pioneer League is kind of weird to me. I mean,
their football stadium is pretty cool. Like obviously it's an FCS stadium, so like meh. But I went not this past season, but the season before that. I like drove up one Saturday. UCF had an away game, so I was like, "Is Stetson at home?" And they were. And I think I saw them play Davidson. It was a pretty good game.
Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think I've seen that the Water Boy is filmed at their stadium, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, so maybe that's a bucket list stadium for that reason. not exactly on my list, but maybe it might be if I'm in the area.
There you go.
Another first time team, Longwood, the Lancers out of Virginia, and they're out of the Big South. And they don't really have much of a resume except I think their best one's against Campbell, 17-10. If you remember, I'm forgetting his name. Was it Chris Clemens out of Campbell? Yep. Yeah, Chris Clemens last year absolutely set the world on fire for the Camels. Really great player. So they beat Campbell. They're competitive against Wake. 12-16 though. Do you think they'll make much of a splash in this tournament?
So Omar, here's your hot team. You wanted a hot team. Here's your hot team. They started the season 3-14, and then they won 9 of 11 to end the season.
Okay.
So they're hot. They're hot.
Okay.
Will they make noise? I don't know. But they're hot playing the team that doesn't know how to get hot or get cold. So we might see, I don't know if I'd call this an upset, but maybe just off record-wise, yeah, we can call this an upset. If there's an upset, I think this is the upset to pick.
Okay, wow. That's an interesting take because I see this matchup. I see Pepperdine, Longwood, and I think like that is going to be like the least closest, like the biggest.
Yeah, no, it's there's a spread for that game. There's not a spread for all of the games, but ESPN has Pepperdine as like 10-point favorites.
10 points.
So I'm definitely being a crackhead here, but if there's an upset to pick, this is the upset pick.
I mean, you heard it here. If there was an 8-1 game in the CBI, then it would be Longwood versus Pepperdine.
Yep.
You can't argue with the team that gets hot at the right time, and they're motivated too. They're here to set history. Pepperdine, their motivations might not be as great, but maybe they're just happy to be there with the state of the West Coast Conference, with how it's been since
Yep.
the start of this millennium. Really, that's Gonzaga's to lose. So, Longwood team to watch there. You heard it here from Alex. Hot team. Bellarmine. I think they're an interesting team because sort of like that hot new item. They might be well, they didn't win their conference tournament, but they seemingly had nothing to play for, but they still played great, kind of like Merrimack last year or Cal Baptist on the women's side, who they ended out undefeated in the WAC, right? They won their conference tournament. Okay, yeah, and so they're in the women's
Yeah.
NIT. So maybe an angry team or a team looking to make some noise. Do you like them out of all? Do
They're
you like them the most out of all the first time?
they're they're interesting because like they could be really good. Like I could see this team being in the NCAA tournament whenever they're allowed to. I think it's 3 years. Um, they started their season 3-5. Then they proceeded to go on a 10-game winning streak, and then they lost their last 2 games. So they're cold right now, but they have a tendency to get hot. They score a lot of points. They're playing Army, who's a defensive team. Um, so this matchup could be fun because you got a high scoring offense against a really, really good defense. Um, I think the winner of the Army Bellarmine game could go to the final.
Okay.
Depending on if Pepperdine can get past Longwood, I think Pepperdine would be the favorite there. But I would not be shocked if one of those two teams get to the final.
Okay. And I'd have to agree, for sure, because looking at the top of the bracket, you got Stetson, Bowling Green, and Bowling Green out of the MAC. I think the MAC had a really strong year, in terms of basketball. We had Buffalo in the NIT, Toledo in the NIT, and of course Ohio as a 13 that people are picking to on a lot of upsets, almost beating Illinois this year. Um, this Bowling Green team, I think they should have not so maybe not an easy time, but they should be favored against Stetson. So I can see them coming from the top of the bracket. And then in the last semifinal game, Coastal Carolina just absolutely having a great year against this Bryant team.
America's school.
America's school. Yeah. The
America's school.
Chanticleers.
Chanticleers. Yup.
But I think honestly, so aside from Army Bellarmine, I'm really liking Bryant versus Coastal because as we
That's
mentioned
gonna be a fun
before,
game.
like Bryant has a really like a good resume for NEC school at 15-6, and then you have the Chanticleers at 16-7 out of the Sun Belt, which had some solid teams. App State, of course, who played last night and lost unfortunately, and then Georgia State as well went 16-6, but has sort of a little bit of a tradition. Maybe I'm just replaying Ron Hunter falling from his stool a little bit too much in my head, but they got a little bit of a tradition in the Sun Belt. I think that's a fun game too. And Coastal Carolina, next to Army, I'd say is like the biggest brand based off what they did in football. It might
Yeah.
be unfair
Yeah.
to say that, but
No, those two schools have the biggest brand, and like, yeah, it's not particularly close. Bryant's a good FCS program, kind of. Stetson is irrelevant in football, and then none of the other schools have football. So yeah, Army and Coastal are definitely the two biggest brands, just based off football. Because I think, like everything, college football kind of rules all in college sports. So that's where brands are made. Unless you're like Duke or UNC, you make it off basketball. But everyone else definitely makes off football. Coastal's an interesting team, though. You want a super streaky team? Here's your super streaky team. Before their loss in the Sun Belt Conference tournament, they had a 3-game winning streak, then a 3-game losing streak, and a 4-game winning streak. That's how they ended their season. They're very streaky. Devontae Jones, he can score, but this team is streaky. They can get hot or they can get ice cold. I think the winner of Coastal and Bryant will get to the final too. I don't think that's much of a hot take there because Stetson and Bowling Green are kind of meh. Bowling Green kind of stumbled into the end of the season. They started 10-3, then went on a 6-game losing streak, and they finished 14-11. So Bowling Green is playing mediocre basketball. Stetson's just not good. They're there to have a fun time. So Coastal and Bryant, I think, are the two strongest teams not named Pepperdine in the tournament. So I think that the winner of Coastal and Bryant will come out of the top of the bracket for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's interesting. I mean, I see Bowling Green what jumps off the page to me, and you say again a team that kind of lost towards the end of the year. I see that win against App State, and for me that's like a solid win. But again, it's like consistency and what Bowling Green team you're going to see against Stetson. Well, I mean, I suspect you'll see a good enough Bowling Green team to beat Stetson, but the next semifinal against Bryant or Coastal, who both have had great years, especially this Bryant team. Um, I'm just not so sure really. So it should
Yeah.
be interesting to see. My only qualms with the semifinals pairings or the quarterfinals pairings is I would have put Bowling Green Coastal little pre-Christmas bowl game type affair in the
Yep.
postseason.
Yep.
I mean the Sun Belt and MAC are made for each other in the postseason. I mean, why not?
They're perfect. They're perfect.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping. I'm kind of hoping Coastal and Bowling Green both win, so we get in the semi.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. That's like a college football nerd's dream.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that would be a fun semifinal matchup just for the memes of a MAC and Sun Belt school playing postseason sports.
Yeah. I mean, you just can't get away from it, honestly. I mean, and we'll see. We'll see if we get that again. I think the elephant in the room for both of us is Army, of course, and Army has not had a tournament win in the postseason since 1970, and I believe that's when Bobby Knight was still there
Yep.
back in 1970. So first game against Bellarmine, not the easiest draw. Do you think the Knights can pull it out?
I definitely do. Behind Josh Caldwell, the Defensive Player of the Year in the Patriot League, I think they can. Will it be easy? Not at all. They they need to play like they played in the second half against Loyola, because that second half against Loyola in the semifinal, they were on fire. They were hitting everything. They were playing lockdown defense. If they can play like that again, they should win. If they play like they played in the first half against Loyola, Bellarmine's going to blow them out. Army's another streaky team. Like there's a bunch of streaky teams in this tournament. Army's one of them. Um, Obviously, I want them to win. My dad's childhood friend is the head coach. Shout out Mr. Jimmy. They grew up together on West Point, believe it or not.
Wow.
But yeah, Army streaky. But if Army can get past Bellarmine, they're going to the final. Book it. I don't know why I believe that, but I do. If they can get past Bellarmine, book it. They're going to the final.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, this Army team, they have a strong resume. They played great against Florida. Almost had that Florida
They should
game.
have beaten Florida. They
Yeah,
should have beaten Florida.
heartbreaking for sure. They beat Buffalo, beat LaSalle, and I know like they played Colgate 4 times, so it's kind of a moot point. But they are Colgate's only loss.
Only lost. Yep.
They beat Navy. They split the Navy series. So I really think this team can pull it together, and I really think that shoot, I forgot our coach's name.
Jimmy Allen.
Jimmy Allen, that's right. I didn't want to say the wrong name. I wanted to verify, but I'm pretty sure. Like I think Jimmy Allen's got the program going the right direction, and it should be exciting to see. But yeah, I think this Bellarmine game is the first test, but I think they can string together a nice run of 3 games. Now Pepperdine, it will be a test for sure. Definitely. I mean, the fast paced play out west in the West Coast Conference, but they get past Bellarmine, and we get maybe a Coastal or maybe Coastal, Bowling Green, or Bryant in the final. I mean, I think this is Army's to take, but I don't want to jinx anything.
Hey, I know. I'm very, 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 very excited. I'm gonna be there Monday night. It's the first time I've seen Army basketball since 2015.
Wow.
Yeah. What the first year of when we rebranded everything, that first season, I was up in New York and we saw them play Monmouth. And that was the year Monmouth's bench blew up because all of their celebrations. So I got to see the bench celebrations. That was Zach Spikers last year at Army. Now he's at Drexel. They're in the tournament for the first time since 1995. Yeah.
Wow, since 95. Yeah, that Drexel team for sure. They're kind of the stepchild of Philly basketball. It's kind of sad because you got the Big Five and the City Six, but then again, I don't really blame the Big Five because they do play in the CAA, which I mean,
Hmm.
Not great
No,
basketball ground.
I'm excited because Zach Spiker and I have so I went to Army Navy basketball in Annapolis in 2013 or 2012, sorry. And I got out of our car and Army's bus pulled in right behind us. And I had never met anyone in Army basketball before. And Zach Spiker comes down, 12-year-old me, just puts his arm around my shoulder. He's like, "How you doing, kid?" And we have a whole conversation. And then after the game, we beat Navy. Navy missed like a buzzer beater three that would have won them the game. And I'm sitting front row behind the bench, and he's like, "Come," and he's like, "Come on the court." He takes me into the locker room with him. We were all celebrating. I almost got an elbow to the face by Ella Ellis because he was celebrating, screaming "On Brave Old Army Team" at the top of his lungs. So Zach Spiker's my guy, and then Mr. Jimmy Allen, my dad's childhood friend, and was an assistant for Zach Spiker. So those two are my guys. I'm excited. They both have their programs going in the right direction, which makes me really, really excited.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Drexel on the schedule in the
That'd be fun.
future. I mean, I
That'd be
like,
fun.
yeah, I like those I like regional rivalries for sure. But in basketball in the Northeast, like it's just great to see regional programs link up. So that'll be something to see in the future. Um, I guess while on the topic, do you think Drexel has the juice to pull off a 16-1?
Hey, if anyone's gonna do it, it's Zach Spiker. Will it happen? Probably not. My mom picked that game. My mom picked
Okay.
Drexel to win just because she loves Zach Spiker. So if it's gonna happen, it's gonna be Zach Spiker.
All right. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm iffy. I don't think I picked any 16-1s, but I
I
will be
didn't. I
rooting.
didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't pick any 16 ones. I have a bracket where I did, but my main bracket, I don't have it. But if it happens, I'll be the first one to text them and say congratulations.
Yeah, for sure. I think that wraps up like all we have for the CBI. Really, I mean, 18 field with a lot of great storylines. It pay the $30 for flow hoops if you want. It's kind of a tough one. I'm still thinking about whether I want to do it. But yeah, no, it should be fun, and just direct your attention at times to the CBI because these
Yep.
schools deserve it. They had great years, and just getting through the season in general in this pandemic, it's enough of an achievement for sure. I mean, like you had some programs shutting it down early on and unable to finish the season, but these teams are finishing it out and playing the postseason, and a lot of these players, sacrificing family time and whatnot, and that's something we should all appreciate. And they're not getting compensated for it, but maybe one day that'll change. One day soon.
Hopefully. But Tuesday and Wednesday, the men's tournament is off. There's going to be the women's tournament going on, so
Okay.
watch the women's tournament. But Tuesday and Wednesday, watch this. Like Monday, I can get if you don't want to watch it because the actual tournament is on. But give it a watch. But Tuesday, Wednesday, semifinal, final, they're off because that's between the Sweet Six or the round of 32 and the Sweet 16. So give it a watch. I don't know why it's on Flow Hoops. Like I wouldn't want to pay $30, but
Live stats. Honestly, it's
yep.
going to be
Live
live.
stats. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be live tweeting the games because I'll be there. I'll be up in Daytona. I'll probably write some recaps for them too. So check that out. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, thanks for helping me out. I've been talking a lot about FCS spring football, so I'm gonna reduce it to just one TV this Saturday, or one computer, my computer screen on FCS football, but the big screen will be on March Madness. I'm excited for sure. Unfortunately, the Ivy League not participating this year. So I guess I'll have to root for Colgate. They become like the Duke Blue Devils of the Patriot League. Honestly, like
Yeah.
they're the class.
I have Colgate winning that game because both of those teams score a lot of points. That's going to be a very high scoring matchup. First team to 100 will win that game, and I think Colgate will get there. That's like my
Wow.
big upset pick. That's my big
Okay.
upset pick.
Okay, 100 burger against Arkansas. That's bold. That's bold.
Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate the bold pick for sure. I don't think I
Mhm.
picked Colgate. I mean, I just think the sample size is a bit small and a bit strange.
Yeah.
16.
Arkansas is good. Arkansas is good. But I don't know. I'm hoping the Patriot League finally gets a win because I don't think they've won since Lehigh beat Duke.
Yeah.
So it looked good for our conference. We need it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. not a great basketball conference or football conference for that matter this fall.
Hey, and then Army can say, look, we beat the team that beat Arkansas, so
Yeah.
we beat Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean it all works out due to transitive property.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, thanks again, Alex, for coming and discussing with
Anytime.
us. If you have any final remarks?
Uh, Go Army! Like let's win the CBI. I'm excited. Postseason basketball isn't something that has happened often. I think this is the first time since 2015 when they played in the CIT. So cherish it. I think Jimmy Allen has this program going in the right direction, and I think in the near future we might be getting an NCAA berth for the first time ever.
Hopefully, yeah. Long time coming. In the words of Sam Cooke. But until next time, have a great weekend, everyone, and peace, love, and soul.